Hello, Monsters of Bounty, and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2 Mortal Empires and the fourth part of my Patreon campaign with Isabella von Carstein. Last time the Patreons had a couple of votes. The first one was what bloodline should we go for? Lemmian, Von Carstein, Blood Dragon, Strigoi, Necratch, or Lemmian. Now, fortunately, they did vote for Lemmian, the right choice, in my opinion. They voted for the right choice, the correct vote. And so that's going to reduce the upkeep of all of our vampire heroes, which is most of our army at the moment. In fact, it's the vast majority. It's all of our army. And which is good. And that's going to reduce the upkeep by 50%, I think, which is pretty major. Basically, we've just given all of our vampires a pay cut. We've gone to them. We've had a pay review. We've said we love the work you're doing. It's fantastic, and you're improving every day. But we are going to slash your wages in half, which is a damning indictment of today's current economic climate, I think. And I mean, never let it be said that this YouTube channel is not hard hitting. Because it is. And also whether we should kill the rats, splat the rats in the mountains, or be ratty best friends with them. And I'll be honest, Splat the Rat took an early lead, but then ratty best friends crept ahead by a nose. Now, admittedly, these guys are a passive spineless minor faction, so the likelihood of them actually doing anything useful is minimal. But fuck it. That's what we're doing, apparently. So that's what we're doing. Fine. I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, obviously, Sylvania here is surrounded by enemies. We do need to get a move on and deal with Karl sooner rather than later, in my opinion. But for the moment, I think building up our infrastructure is probably a good idea. Basically, we need an army to defend Sylvania while we send Isabella out to go and kick the shit out of Karl. That's my thinking, anyway. Sylvania, at first glance, looks like it's fairly well defended, but I think in Mortal Empires that has changed quite significantly, especially because the dwarves now seem to be more focused on going north, and obviously we've got things like Ungrim over here as well. He's a bit of a problem. There's other factions nearby as well that have been added. There's more settlements and stuff like that. So basically Sylvania is not so much of a fortress as Swiss cheese. Not to mention the fact that the dwarves in the mountains over here have a mobility advantage because they can underway all over the place and we can't. Which means attacking into the mountains is a pain in the ass, and it means the dwarves have a much better chance of attacking us rather than us attacking them. Especially if we're going to be heading eastward, so we need a Vlad up to deal with any little stunty dwarven incursions, and also maybe to do some light sacking along the way. Now, I am a little bit worried about Swartzhafen. I reckon we're probably...
A curse upon the Empire for centuries.
Yeah, whatever. I think we're going to get attacked, and I don't think we're going to get walls up everywhere. We just need to get as many walls up as possible, and then we need to get Vlad up. Basically, Castle Drakenhof is the main... If we can get that to as high a level as possible, especially the gold mine, we should then be able to get Vlad up, and then he can... Oh, then that Kazakarak has declared war on us. And they're right down here as well. Fine, no problem. Here we go. Yeah, there was no point trying to defend that. That's vexing, but I'm going to be honest, pretty much saw that coming. Okay. So a little bit annoying. Not much we can really do about that, unfortunately. Now we've got the dwarves down here. We do need to deal with that little army, so we're going to... I don't know, recruit a bunch of crap. Basically just fodder. A corpse cart might not necessarily be the worst choice. No, it will, because it's fucking slow, isn't it? Against the dwarves, it's going to take ages to get into range. We'll get shot by the quarrelers. It'll be a terrible, terrible idea. Let's get the Fellbats. I guess some knights wouldn't go amiss. There we go. A reasonable force. Right, we've got one more turn on Castle Drakenhof. Once that's finished, obviously we'll get increased income, and we can upgrade the gold mine as well. There's no point repairing Schwarzhafen because that army is within attacking distance, which means they'll just go and attack us again. Okay, so let's go and kill the dwarves, seeing as they're, here, and easily... What's this? Oh, the extra... Yes, the Electrified Banner. That's actually quite nice, although I don't think any of us have actually got any magical attacks. Although that will potentially reduce the magic resistance. Not that magic resistance really helps against Wind of Death. I feel like the dwarves have got better things to do than worry about vampires. So, let's just deal with this lot. And this is why Wind of Death is so good. Yes, that was pretty obscene, wasn't it? That just annihilated, what, 2.5 units of crossbows? Racking up about 160 kills. Not bad. And of course, because we have so much arcane conduit, boom, and the mana's back. So with most of their missile units dead or dying, I mean minced, literally just blended. Our skeletons are going to clash against... And of course all the single ladies. All the single ladies will be doing that weird dance that you can do to the theme tune of Thomas the Tank Engine, the original Thomas the Tank Engine, not that new bollocks, right? That doesn't exist, right? The classic tune. Fucking new bloody hip-hop retro no, not even retro. It's just garbage. It's rubbish. I hate it. It makes me it makes me legitimately angry to listen to it. So just the original. Getting some nice... Oh, look at that. The bats coming in from behind, causing the missile units to turn, and then a smash into the rear with the cavalry, doing oodles of damage. In comes the crypt horrors as well, and we, basically all of our sort of like good-ish units are moving on the right flank. So crypt horrors slamming into the dwarf warriors there. They're going to be doing a lot of damage, and then more cavalry as well, just to mop up this flank, and then we can come in and around behind the rest of the army. Meanwhile, all the single ladies, they're just... It's like a Lynx advert with skeletons and blood. So, exactly like a Lynx advert, as all the single ladies chase off the Rune Lord there. And then come back to finish off some dwarves. I mean, it's absolute carnage. The fact is, I mean, the auto resolve's right. My skeletons, they're not going to win this fight. Don't need them to. The skeletons are literally there just to die. Cavalry has mopped up the missile units on the right flank. Dealing with that quite nicely, and the crypt horrors just munching their way through. I mean, they're not doing huge amounts of damage, but they're getting some kills in, and they're doing some crushy armor piercing stuff that we need them to do, because the skeletons ain't going to be armor piercing nothing. Oh, the Rune Lord's back. Apparently he's like, well, actually that wasn't so bad being chased by a horde of single ladies, so in fact I'm just going to come back. Unfortunately, all the single ladies have spotted him and decided... I mean, basically, the best way to break a dwarf army, in fact, one of the only ways to break a dwarf army, is to kill their general. So we're going to kill their general, basically. He's just dicking about over here, though. Waving his little hammer around. Oh, he's just going to... Oh, he kicked Alicia Keys in the back of the head. And considering he's a dwarf, that's quite impressive. Unfortunately, yeah, now they spotted him, and they're like, okay... Yeah, just consecutive beatings. Oh, he did not run fast enough. And that's how you do it. Don't even. I'm going to take the cash. I don't need. Are you going to run like... I know you just ran around the corner. Not far enough, my friend. Not far enough. Yeah, I'll take the cash again, thanks. I could do with it. Okay, Schwarzhafen is... I'm going to be honest, it's fucked. Don't have to worry about it. Don't have to worry about that. Yes, yes. Well, maybe if we can get you... Yeah, if we can bring you around, we can do that. The one problem with this type of army is this bit where everyone has skill points. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, ambush success chance isn't the worst thing to have. I do think just making it... I mean, Isabella is the army's weak point. So, weirdly... So, making sure she has all of the buffs she can really does help us. So we want to get stuff like that to make sure they've got Arcane Conduit and the Hunger, and then pretty much everything else is just icing on the cake. Because as long as they've got Arcane Conduit, they can keep feeding us mana. We can spend that on Winds of Death, and then it's absolute carnage. I mean, occasionally I might spend some magic on Occam's Mind Razor, but to be honest, we don't really need it. Because our weapon strength is so stupidly high anyway on vampires, on all characters really, that just having like an extra 25% is like, well, it's nice, but it's not realistically, I don't think, going to have a huge impact. So I don't often bother. Okay, let's upgrade Castle Templehof, because that's the main thing. Damaged buildings, yes, we're aware of it, and to be honest, there's no point repairing it, because they'll just attack it again, and it'll be a waste of money. We'll see who the fool. Yeah, we'll see who the fool is. I don't actually recruit stuff as a vampire. You just sack it. Oh, sorry. What do you do? Raise dead. That's the word. Words are hard. Right. We definitely want the gold mine, and we're going to sack Zufbar again because why the fuck not? Don't even want it. It's more just a fuck you for bringing the Kazakarak into this. You had to go running to your big brother, didn't you, you little shit? You could have just sopped it up. But no. You had to go running to big brother Daddy Thorgrim and get him to join in. Admittedly, though, I wonder if the fact that dwarves are going to be sending shit against us, is that going to cause the greenskins to, like... The greenskins might do quite well against them. If they're sending armies against us, they won't be defending themselves. I mean, it's a possibility. Do I want more income? I mean, not particularly, but I don't want anything else. Really, what I really want is this stuff. The Spirit Well, the Vampire Crypts, and the Forbidden Library, because all that stuff is going to give us income. I mean, I guess any amount of income's good. Sure, why not? Sure, we'll grab that. Need to keep an eye on these guys. I think the dwarves have been blunted for the moment.
Come then, messenger.
I'm wondering if we can get Clan Farrick here to... Is it Clan Farrick or... It's Farrick, isn't it?
Clan war. You things need Skaven aid help, yes. Barter deal.
Maybe barter deal? I mean, you don't want one, but you don't like us.
Things. You stink of fear. Good. Make easy trade.
I think you're mistaking that with the smell of decay. That's different. Okay, not going to worry about damage. Right, okay, I think we don't need to go and give the Empire a little sucker punch now. I mean, we've punched Zufbar repeatedly in the face, and hopefully they've learned their lesson. I'm a little bit concerned at this. Of course, we've got Azhag up here now, haven't we? Is Azhag raiding us? Oh, no, he's not. He's raiding someone else. Good. Fucking good. I need to be a little bit cautious of him, but I think we're probably fine. Right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to assume they might... I think they might take Schwarzhafen. I think they might do that. Should we get the Balefire Hearth? Because that will start spreading vampiric corruption in all directions, which is, you know, good for us, bad for everyone else. Let's do that. Vampire buildings cost so much. They really do. Just super expensive for some reason. Let's go with Impassioned, because one of the... I mean, attacking in all directions... I mean, the vampires have stupid melee attack anyway. They've got 70 melee attack base, and that's mostly because of, obviously, Isabella, which is brilliant. But their melee defense isn't great, and so buffing that up is quite useful, because it means that they can just tank in all directions, and they often will be surrounded, especially the way I fight their battles. So having a little bit more extra melee defense is often useful. Having magic items as well is always good. Obviously, you know, it's tough to get them, especially in the numbers we need to equip all of our vampires. So if we can get, the more magic items we can get, the better. Let's get some more vampire bats. I actually quite like the bats as like a little assistance for Isabella. I might actually even get At Dawn They Sleep, because that's a little extra melee attack and defense. We could also get the speed. I don't know if the speed and charge bonus is worth it. The melee attack and defense is quite good. They are quite like... Actually, they've got quite a lot of melee defense. And if you get the extra buff from them as well, then actually their melee defense is like in the 50s, which is better than most units' melee defense. They have no armor, to be fair. But I think you can get them some armor. I think you can get like 10 armor or something. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's something. But the melee defense is usually going to be enough to like keep them fairly safe. They're quite a tanky unit for a flying. You can just use them to intercept like artillery and missile units and just lock them down. As soon as that's one of the things we're weak against, it kind of, you know, does make sense. Oh, I thought you might do this, you little shits. Oh, holy shit, we actually won? Good grief. There's no way I would have won that actual battle. God knows what happened there, but... Alright. Right. Kazakarak has confederated. Barak Var is recruiting shit, which is unwelcome, but there's not much I can do about that right now. I wonder if I can, like, lure in another army. I'm going to scooch over here, and I'm going to repair these buildings, which is almost certainly like waving a red rag to a bull. They are not going to be super happy about it. Well, they'll see it and they'll be like, great, tasty, delicious, I want it, and they'll charge directly to their death. That's the dream anyway. That's the hope. Should we get some... I kind of want more Balefire Hearths, but let's more growth. More growth, because then we can upgrade Castle Drakenhof ASAP, which will be very, very important. You're recruiting Dwarves, which I don't like, but there's not much I can do about that right now. I would like Vlad. We could actually get Vlad up. Should we get Vlad? Let's get Vlad. Vlad can hold Castle Drakenhof for us, because I think with Vlad... the defences there are good enough to at least keep Zufpar at bay.
On thy knees, then and only then shall I...
Yeah, on your knees. Unzip. You want a peace... No, you don't get a peace treaty. No, get the fuck out of here. Fucking peace treaty. You don't get a peace treaty. Just because you got Azhag currently nibbling at you. No, I'm surprising they didn't actually attack. Which I am legitimately... I'm like, good, whatchamacallit, good restraint. Holy shit, how do they have 3 fucking armies already? I mean, they're recruiting dwarf miners who are trash, but still. Still, good grief. Okay, let's get some of those. I'm just conscious I don't want to... increase our upkeep by too much, because I do need the money to keep... I mean, if we're sacking stuff, then we should get some more money. But if Vlad can at least just hold Sylvania, then Isabella can go and just, you know, go and murder people. Right, what do we want here? I guess getting missile resistance could be quite useful, so we'll grab that. You as well. Let's do something like that. So already these ladies are looking pretty devastating. You know what? I'm looking at those army and I'm thinking I can take them. It's a ballsy move, but Isabella, she's got balls. Super huge balls. Enemy reinforcements are coming in on our flank, unfortunately for them. Because that means they're really close to us. So already this is looking like a terrible idea for them. I mean, this is quite ballsy because there's this force, which is, you know, fairly large, and then we've got the main army over there as well. So this is a pretty ballsy move. Our bats are getting in amongst the handgunners and stuff, making sure they can't fire on us, as well as the crossbows, and of course the mortars, cavalry coming on the flank. All the single ladies are in a big blob over there. Just in the centre, trying to hunt down the generals, and we're going to get a lovely pendulum. I could have gone for Wind of Death, but I was like, it seems like a bit like overkill for state troops is that you don't really need a Wind of Death. Wind of Death is very expensive mana-wise. You can just use Pendulum, is very good, and against these lightly armoured units, we'll just mince them and break the... especially when they're so closed up like this. Just a nice, easy sort of like way to spend less mana, but, you know, get a fairly similar effect. The state troops are well and truly outmatched here. They are getting absolutely minced. Things are not looking good for them. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be proud of the province. You've got to give them to them, though. They are standing and fighting against the living dead. Some of them actually managed to get away. Looks like they're trying to break it. Like the enemy, generally the Empire's running away. Some spearmen have managed to get away as well. It seems like they're trying to break away from our encirclement and get away. I mean, not many of them are making the breakthrough, to be fair. And the enemy army is now advancing, I guess, to try and save the reinforcements. Guess what? Not going to work. Absolute carnage. I mean, the bats have taken an absolute beating, but that's what they're there for. The bats are there to take a beating. That's their job. That's what we need them to do. We've got some zombies back here as well. I cast them in the middle just for funsies. I didn't need Wind of Death, and when you don't need... I mean, Wind of Death at max... you know, when you overpower it, that's the one. Costs 27 Winds of Magic, which means you cast a Wind of Death and you don't have Winds of Magic until you then use all your Arcane Conduits, of course. But what that means is that if you don't use it, suddenly you're like, well, I've got all this mana, what do I possibly do with it? So then you're like, may as well just summon some zombies. Don't even know why I need to, but fuck it, why not? I could summon 8. Sure. A bit of fire there, and it's... What's his face? What's his face? I can't remember his name now. The crazy guy. Fuck. What's his name? Yeah, that guy. Anyway, he is... I mean, he's living up to his name. It's just like poor Adele. She's rolling in the deep as she gets... That doesn't even make any sense. Getting smacked from both sides. She's getting a bit... She's taking a bit of a beating, but all the single ladies have now arrived, and whatever his name is, I can't remember. It's not really important, to be honest. He's getting his head kicked in. He's being an absolute crazy bastard, though. Poor Adele. I mean, she is now dealing with the General of the Empire. She just has to deal with him now. She does have 152 kills, so, you know, that's pretty respectable. She looks a bit... She's just run off. She looks a bit fucked off. It's like, what? Oh, and then Spearman. Oh, that's not... Oh, guys. I wouldn't. She's fuming. Well, I hope you didn't need your throat. Oh, well. So our forces have engaged. We've got these pistolers over here, the Outriders. They're going to be a bit of an issue for us. We don't really have a way to catch up with them. Fortunately, are they pistolers or Outriders? They're just Outriders are actually easier to deal with because they can't shoot back, whereas the Outriders can only shoot forwards. So actually, that is quite useful because it means if we chase them with bats, at least they can't keep shooting at the bats and whittling them down. You're going to have to kill quite a... I mean, I hope you've brought quite a few stakes, because you're going to need them. I love just watching all these vampires, like, doing backflips all over the place. It's fucking amazing. It's just legitimately amazing. I mean, this would be a good place for a Wind of Death right here. I might have spent all my Winds of Magic now, though. Honestly, this is why you need a stack full of vampires, so you literally have all of the Arcane Conduit, and you can then, like, stagger them, so you just have constant mana regeneration. It's the best thing in the world. Especially when you've got, like, melee casters who can actually fight as well. The enemy of the General. The General of the Empire, that's the one, is, I mean, he's the enemy general. Is now in the middle of all the single ladies. Is that a good idea, mate? I'm going to say it's not. I'm going to say it's not. Oh. No, I think his head came off. Terrible idea. Terrible, terrible idea. So we do still have a few sort of like missile units hanging around here. And they're caused, plus, you know, most of our army is dead. So here's where Pendulum can come in useful. Don't overcast it. Just a single cast. This feels like a Blue Peter episode. Just a single cast, like no overcast, Pendulum can easily deal with lines of missile units like this. They're very susceptible to that. Usually not very armoured. So, I mean, Dwarves, you might have to overcast, but state troops and shit. I mean, you're going to be fighting a lot of state troops. Just a single cast Pendulum. It's fine. You can easily, like, they will sit just out of range, and then you can just do this. And no more problem. Like, you know, they can't shoot you when they've been eviscerated by a magical scythe, which I think is what that is. There we go, there's another one. And boom. I mean, it's, you know, extra points if you can get them to group up. That's always nice. But otherwise, you know, just have fun with it. Here's one I prepared earlier. There's still a big blob of spearmen over here, which are slowly cutting down. I mean, the skeleton warriors are pretty much all gone, but to be honest, that's not really a big problem for us, because even with just 230... I mean, ultimately, I don't... Where are our units? Oh, there's some over there. Basically, we're down to just our skeletons, and they're pretty much all dead. And even with just our vampires, we will still have a massive balance of power advantage over the enemy forces, just because we've got a shit ton of vampires and they can't really do much to stop us. Like, the only thing that might be is this witch hunter over here, but I mean, he's looked like he's seen better days. You're right, buddy. You look a bit, I mean, you look awesome, but I just don't think you can take... I mean, witches, maybe. You know, old women who you've accused of casting dark magic is one thing. A horde of vampires, quite another. You know, that's slightly trickier when they can fight back, isn't it, mate? You can wear all the trench coats you like, but it ain't gonna save you. Absolute carnage. And the enemy army as well. Who can say fairer than that? Right, we're going to do a little sacking. Sack the moots again. They know how it works by now. And Isabella's a blood reveler. Yes, because she has suffered quite high casualties multiple times. And more income from sacking settlements, which is going to come in useful, because that's what we're going to be doing a fucking lot of. Okay, let's head back to Schwarzhafen. Nice thing is we can always raise the deads as well. So we can replenish. Obviously, we won't be able to replace our Black Knights, but that's not such a big deal, really. We'll grab that as well, because a little bit of... To be honest, the more income buildings we can stack here, the better. I'm half tempted to knock down the Abysmal Wood. But having Vargeists could be useful. We do have one here. You know what? I might do that. Just because at max rank, that's going to increase our income by 50%, which means that this building will produce 300... Not this building, sorry. This building will produce 300 income rather than 200. Which isn't a huge amount, but it's still income, and it's... Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, Isabella, you can have magical reserve. I don't think Curse of Years is really worth it, to be honest. But magical reserves. The more winds of magic we have to draw on, the better, basically. Because then we can keep casting that magic. That's going to be killing a lot of stuff for us. I mean, you saw how useful those spells, like just a little pendulum here or there, can take out those missile units. What's call it? Blender spell? Pit of Shades, that's the one. Pit of Shades, good at dealing with, well, pretty much everything, really. Okay, Skarsnik is attacking Karak Ziflin. Alright, good luck with that. Can we see how Grimgor's doing? I want to know how Grimgor's doing.
It is I.
I mean, they are now strength rank 27, which means they have dropped.
All shall know.
Which is interesting.
No.
I think these guys are mostly recruiting miners. I don't think they're going to be picking up too many nasty things. I would like to hit Gesundheit. God, they've got Longbeards already. That's a bit of a worry. What about... Really? Come on, guys. Just... Oh, it's because I'm strength... It's probably because I'm strength rank 87. But, you know, realistically, that's not really taking into account all the single ladies tactic. Which is pretty good. You know what? The Awakened Battlefield might not... Plus 50% casualty suffered from vampiric attrition. Might not be the worst. And they give us some more garrison. But we were going to get the gibbet. So let's get the gibbet. I do want the Von Carstein Court Hall, because that's going to give us more vampire recruit rank, which would be quite nice, and more vampiric corruption in all regions, plus public order and all that kind of good stuff. So we do want that at some point, but we can't get it just yet. Ideally, how much growth do we have? 2. How much do we need? 4. It's going up really quickly, though. If we could save 6,000 for the maximum... I mean, like, the vampire buildings seem like ridiculously expensive. Is that just me? They seem like ludicrously expensive compared to what they actually provide. I mean, I know that building is like gives the necromancer. Oh, that's the point. I was going to get a necromancer, wasn't I? Confident, devious, lawkeeper. You know what? Minus 10% construction for all buildings. Not necessarily. Dolph, you're in.
I will not betray you.
No, you won't. I mean, basically because you won't be doing anything. No, yeah, okay, thank you. So we're basically not... Don't tell me when a hero has not moved.
It is night.
And... Oasis Blade regard... Yes. So this is one of the weird backward things in Warhammer.
What?
Well, I'll tell you, Dolph. So, you can untick the hero not moved notification. But if you then want to be... No, I'm fine, thanks. If you want to then be notified about them, you have to tick this little thing. Would it not be fucking easier to do the opposite thing? So you go, okay, the global, I want to be notified about everyone. But I want... Yes, almost. But if I don't want to be notified, I can just tick this box and it won't let me know. Because Dolph is just going to sit here forever, basically. He's not going to do anything. He's just there to boost our income and make our buildings cost less. That's his entire job. That's all he exists to do. We will not be hearing from him again unless I decide to maybe move him at some point. Maybe I might could steal technology. Actually, come to think of it, could steal some technology. That's potentially an option. Oh, we've got a White King. Nice. Where is he? Waldenhof. Waldenhof? Waldenhof. No? Where? Hey? Oh, there he is. Schwarzhofen even. Yeah, that's one of the two. My will. My will, you are determined. That's nice. I mean, aren't you immune to psychology anyway, being that you're dead? Do I want to assault people, or do I want to save the pennies? How much would it be to steal technology? 374. 74 or 75? Yeah, well, it wasn't, was it? You failed. Fuck up. I mean, assaulting units could potentially be quite useful. Not that you managed it, but, you know, it could have been quite useful. In the meantime, let's get... Yes, Arcane Conduit. Perfect. How much money are we going to get from sacking this? 100 and... That's not really much. What about for Gesundheit? 400... Oh, that's 4,000. That's not bad. That's 10k. Problem is, we're going to take attrition. which I don't like. Do we just go for it? Do we just go for it? Do we just do it? Let's get some of those bad boys. Okay. Okay, let's just... I mean, 4K is 4K, isn't it? So let's just take the beating. We'll go and sack Gesundheit, because that's going to give us 4K, which is going to be quite nice. And then we can spend that money on upgrading our buildings and getting our infrastructure better and all that kind of good stuff. Karakadrin. Oh, good. Now Ungrim's decided to join in. This is kind of the problem. All of the dwarf factions kind of jump you. We can hope that if they're attacking us, the greenskins can eat them from behind. They can start gobbling up their behinds. But we'll have to see. Hello. You are not Averhart. Wait.
Your man gods and dubious masters.
Wait. Did you just wait, what? Did you just take all my delicious sack income? Oh, you bastards, you've cut it in half.
The nation calls.
Plus, now you're over there and Schwarzhofen. Okay, let's... Plus we've got Ungrim over here now.
Don't think so.
Well, he definitely bloody is. Unfortunately, we've now got walls up, but Eschen does not have walls yet. This is the problem. This is the problem. Being surrounded by enemies and having to fend them off in every bloody direction. Okay. Okay, let's upgrade Schwarzhofen. And then...
Now.
We can't steal technology, so come back here. You can... I mean, you increase vampiric corruption, don't you? No, you don't. Will it, though? Will it? And you can't do anything either. Tell you what, just... I don't know, go and live with Vlad. Vlad needs a friend. He's currently just living in his dark castle all by himself, so we could do with a little bit of assistance, maybe. Oh, shit. Azhag's down. That's not ideal. Who the fuck killed Azhag? Jeez. Okay. I don't really want to have to go and attack you again, but I need right. Let's get defenses in Schwarzhofen. Fuck's sake. And then we'll go and hit the moot again. Can we just auto-resolve this? No. Is the answer to that. This looks fairly familiar, doesn't it? So once again, the enemy reinforcements coming in on our flank, and this is pretty much going to play out how it did last time. It's always nice to be able to, like, manage to capture the Outriders. They've got nowhere to go, right? They're trying to flee back. They're like, no, let me back out. I choose life. Nope, tough. You get to be eaten by skeletons. Good fucking luck. All the single ladies coming in to deal with the mortars, because that's the main threat over here. I mean, there's not much in this army that is really much to concern us. Over here, though, they do have a fair few mortars. I mean, not that mortars are actually a major problem for us. I mean, they might destroy my army, and that might be quite annoying, because to be honest, we're trying to save money at the moment. I mean, realistically, nice little pet of shades there, which apparently has gone wonky, because that's not how that should look, but either way. Lots of damage being... Yeah, just basically minced a lot of them. They're now not very happy, and they're now exploding very easily because their health's very low. So all these crypt horrors are going to get major kills because all they have to do is like smack a state troop and he just explodes into jam. Fantastic. Now, so yes, mortars. I mean, this is mostly about cost effectiveness, right? I don't care about my skeletons or zombies or whatever the fuck, but the problem is it does cost me money to recruit them. So having to recruit them after every single battle is admittedly a small but annoying cost to my economy. As such, I'm going to try and deal with these mortars before they can pulverise all of my skeletons. If I just had an army of vampires, I wouldn't give a shit, right? I would just charge straight towards the biggest concentration of infantry and let the mortars do half the work for me. As it stands, we need to deal with the mortars because, you know, I currently need my skeletons, or at least I like having them around, and I don't want them all to get absolutely pulverised. However, we do have some vampire bats, and vampire bats are very, very good at dealing with artillery. I mean, not dwarven artillery, of course, because everyone's armoured. Are the dwarf? I think they are armoured. I think they're fairly armoured. I mean, put it this way. The mortar... I mean, these guys, right, they have... Their combat stats are terrible. They have no armour. Vampire bats will eat their faces just fine. Will not have a problem with that. So spreading our forces out so that we don't have to worry about them being all clumped up when the mortars start raining down from above. Got a little bit of problem because they ran into these spearmen that they were still killing, and it's like that half of the unit then decides to stop where it is, and then you end up with gaps in your line. It's quite like these guys. They've just been like, oh, there's some spearmen. Let me just stop. It's like Brian is still chasing after the spearman, and so the rest of the regiment has to wait for Brian to fucking catch up with them. It's a major pain in the ass. Anyway, so here comes the enemy army. They are now approaching. They do have quite a gun line there, and our little vampire bats flapping around behind. You can see the mortars now opening fire. Going to be getting some hits on our skeletons. I mean, not many hits. But still, when they do hit, they will do quite a lot of damage. And we just have one brave unit of swordsmen advancing. Not quite sure what their plan is, apart from die horribly. Probably why they're screaming. Okay, the vampire bats coming in from behind. They should be able to deal with those. And I reckon we can probably get a wind of death. Or maybe a couple of pendulums. Sometimes it's nice to do dual pendulum action. Yeah. A couple of pendulums. It does look like some of the handgunners are actually breaking off to go and deal with the Black Knights. I mean, not generally a great idea when you have no support, but I guess that's fine. Let's get a nice little wind of death here to deal with the handgunners, and if we're fortunate, maybe even... Oh, look at that, get mincing action. Oh, this is going to be good. Perfect. Okay, well that killed 364. Fine, that's fine. That's just one. I've actually killed over about 600 people with one wind of death once, and you know, people say magic's overpowered. Okay, the single lady's getting stuck in. That's looking pretty good. Got some Black Knights chasing down the handgunners. Skeletons coming in from the rear, and you can see the vampire bats have indeed eaten the faces of all of the mortar crews, which then means they can chase down anyone else, such as these outriders. Now, the outriders can fire forward while moving, but they can't fire behind them, which means that they're being chased by vampire bats, and basically they're plumb out of luck, aren't they? I mean, the Empire army has disintegrated almost immediately. I pretty much knew this would be a walkover, but the Auto-Resolve felt otherwise. I mean, that was more of a walkover than usual, so good. I guess I'll sack it. Right, maybe what I should do,
I will not disgrace my
especially if Zufbar are going to willfully recruit multiple stacks on one settlement, is go and raise Zufbar. I think we need to raise Zufbar and maybe Karakadrin and maybe even Grom Peak, and hope the Skaven go and take it over. Because I'm never going to get any fucking break with these buggers continually pissing all over my cornflakes, am I? So, shall I get a Dawn They Sleep? I do like my Felbats. You know what? I like my Felbats. I'm going to buff them up. Fuck it. Don't even care. Buffing my Felbats. You know what else I like? I do quite like my Crypt Horrors as well, so I'm going to get rid of you. I mean, I'd like Vargeist, but I got all those killed, so, you know, what are you going to do? So I'm going to get those boys. I quite like having a little front line. That's generally fine. I mean, eventually we will just have a full stack of vampire ladies. That's the dream. But that is going to take quite a while to do, because we can only get, is it one additional vampire per... hero capacity +1. Yes, so we can only get one additional vampire per max rank settlement. So currently we have 6. So to get a full stack of the 19, we're going to need 19 minus 6, whatever that is. Work it out yourself. I think it's 13. I'll say 13. I think it's 13. So we need 13 major settlements, which is going to be quite a few. So we're going to have like some undead forces, infantry in our army, at least for, well, the majority of the campaign. So at that point, maybe we'll have some vampire bats, because vampire bats can stay out of the way should we need them to. So if we're like, let's just send the ladies in, they can stay out of the way, no problem. And if we need to deal with some artillery, although to be honest, one of the joys of the single ladies tactic is that artillery is often more dangerous to the enemy, to their own side, than it is to you. Because take mortars, for example. If they're deciding to drop mortar shells on your vampires, do you know who they're hitting 99% of the time? That's right, their own infantry. At that point, you're like, well, thanks, guys, you're really helping me out here. So actually, in that case, you may as well just be like, sure, why not? Luminarchs, on the other hand, fuck those things. And vampire bats can happily tie those up for fucking ever. So good stuff there. So let's grab Wild-Eyed. A little bit more melee attack, never hurt anyone. Got Arcane Conduit, yes. Let's go Wild-Eyed then. At some point, we might want to spread Corruption so that we can like really like boost our Corruption. But at the moment, I think it's more important to have the slight boosts to melee combat, because it's very easy for our vampires to get like caught out and killed, and we don't want that. We put a lot of effort into our vampire ladies, and we don't want them just dropping dead again.
King of Darkness.
Yes. Also, skeletons. Just skeletons at the moment. You just have these skeletons, but that's fine. You're doing okay with your skelly boys, aren't you? Eschen, I'm still nervous. My suspicion is it's Ungrim that's gone and wiped out Azhag, in which case he's probably on his way at some point. So we probably have to worry about him. Schwarzhafen, we will get defences there. We've managed to knock back these guys considerably, but is the Moot just its own settlement? Holy shit, it is. Holy shit. I didn't realise it was its own, like, province. It really is. Holy fuck. Really? Alright. Okay. Fine. I mean, it is. In the lore, the Moot is its own, like, little entity. It even has the Elder of the Moot, I think, is an elect account. He doesn't have much sway, to be honest, because he's only a halfling, but he is there. Yes. Also, could we... No? Okay. Well, no, it didn't, did it? I do want you to boost income, though, so at least you can fucking do that, I guess. Okay. We definitely are going to be going east once we've dealt with this little dwarven problem. And Zufbar. They're dwarves as well. I think what I need to do is I need to raise Zufbar and Grompeak and Karakadrin. They might come back, but it will take them time to recover from that, whereas at the moment they're just like...
Stop that.
They've got 2 stack... I mean, admittedly, the miners are shit. Okay, they're a terrible unit. I mean, their melee attack... the only good thing they have is armor. And armor piercing, but... Other than that, yeah, so if we can just raise Zufbar... How much money would we get from Zufbar, just out of interest?
I am unstoppable.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. And we've reached rank 3 with Castle Drakenhof, so that's quite nice. And growth is looking pretty good. I think in, what was that, 5 turns, we'll be able to get to the next rank. And are we starting to spread vampiric corruption in this general area? We are. It's going up to 21.1%. Not quite what we need it to be, but that's generally fine. Can we...
Clan war.
You still don't like us very much, do you?
Do not like your mask, no faz.
I don't have a musk. It's vampire pohom. Okay, let's Oh, more recruit rank for vampires would be quite nice. Not that we can get any at the moment, so meh. In fact, do we? I think we're at the point where we don't really need any of this right now. At some point, you know, before we recruit another vampire, getting blasphemous disciples, good shout. But at the moment, not so much. Attrition suffered from non-vampiric. That would be quite nice, actually. So let's get the Libra Necronomica. There we go. We'll grab that bad boy. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any real choices. We just need to deal with Ungrim, Zufbar, and then we can go east. Hopefully before Carl's got too strong. I probably should have made the move. Should I make a move? I don't fucking know. Alright, here's the poll. Should I deal with the vampires? Not vampires, we're the vampires. Deal with the dwarves, that's the ones. The small hairy people. Should we deal with the dwarves? With Isabella first, and then head east? Or shall I leave Vlad to deal with it and send Isabella east to go and deal with Carl? Did the sentence make sense? I've been up since 3:30 this morning, so you know it's been a hell of a ride. Should I leave Isabella to deal with the dwarves, or should we send her east to deal with Carl? That's the poll. There we go. That'll be up on Patreon after this episode. Unfortunately, that's all the time we've got for this episode, so I'm going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.